Now, you see, there's a conflict here between the two. Does God, now, if you were to ask most religious people, does God want people to obey Him? They would say, well, yeah. Does Satan want people to obey God? No, he doesn't want people to obey God. Why wasn't there anything in this letter about obeying God in this letter? You see, Satan wants people to worship God. He just wants people to worship God the wrong way. Now, let's consider asking questions here. Okay. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about bombarding your minister with questions, but that is where you start. We should never let our guard down, because God says, look, I'm going to test you to see if you're going to walk in my ways or not. So if God is testing us on a daily basis, we ought to be willing to try the spirits and ask questions. Can you think of a way you could test the spirits in your church, in the churches in your local area, or the church that you go to? Well, yeah, by asking questions. You can, if you're not a confrontational person, write a letter. Write a letter and send it in like I did, and ask questions. What is your belief about the law of God? What is your belief about salvation? I want to know. Here's the problem. Mainstream Christianity is not tested today. They're not. No one asks any questions, for a pity's sake. In fact, some of you belong to a church that if you were to ask a question, you'd get thrown out. That's a cult. That is a cult you're in. In fact, if you ask a question and you detect this, bristling up, and who are you to question the authority of the ministry? You're in a cult. Get out if you can't ask questions. I belong to a church where we're ridiculed and criticized all the time. Every one of our beliefs is torn to bits and pieces by a lot of religious people, by the way. But we're tested all the time. People are always questioning us. But that's not the way mainstream Christianity is. No one ever asks any questions. Isaiah 8 and verse 20, to the law and testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. This is how you cut to the chase very quickly. You ask questions like, what is your view about the law of God, the Ten Commandments? Do I have to keep the Ten Commandments? What is your view? You want to cut to the chase very quickly? You ask that question. Write a letter. Send it in. Start asking questions. You got a favorite minister? You got a favorite person out there? Start sending in your letters and ask questions. And again, if you're in an organization, a church, a denomination where you can't ask questions, you're in a cult. You're in a cult and you need to get out of there. Now, if you don't know what the Bible teaches, you'll never be able to test the Spirit. That's what I'm saying, because you got to test the Spirit by asking questions, and then you got to compare it. You got to compare it to what the Bible says. You don't want to be like my friend who said, well, I believe all churches are good and all religion is good. He didn't understand that there are two religious spirits out there. One good, one bad. And that's why you have to test the spirits to see whether it's coming from God or not. You can't compare something with nothing. You got to do your homework. I offer a program, How to Begin a Relationship with God Without Church and Religion. And I try to get people to realize the danger of just getting up and saying, well, I'm going to go choose a church of my choice, one that I can walk to, without ever considering, no, wait a minute, there are two deeply religious spirits out there, one good, one bad. You have to have the knowledge of the Bible to test the spirits.